From Fernie, Canada. This is your motivational, sensational, inspirational, educational, aspirational, international, keenly awaited, daily created, highly anticipated edition of the afternoon swing trading floor. The humble host, Jeremy Alexander Newsom, with another daily dose of mentally delicious brain food and money to love life, and trade it. What is going on, folks from around the world? We got ourselves a day on the books. A nice day out there, some fun things to look at and talk about. Marks is Canada, eh? Yes, sir. For about another 29 more hours, I believe. Mateo says, hello, all. What's up, buddy? Graham, how are you? All right, great. Well, really, can we just hop right in? Finance Friday on the docket. And check out the SPY. So I guess we're just never going to have a down day, ladies and gentlemen. So this should be really easy for everyone trading. Just go long, I guess, right? No reason to be bearish ever. Just keep on going long. Long is strong. Man, another good gap on the SPY. So this is what we talked about again yesterday, kind of mentioning that if the market did gap up, that it would be a decent gap. And here's the 5-minute chart. And right, it was a retest gap. And what's really nice about it is just how many times we did trade into that support of the opening range candle. You know, I mean, first candle was a bearish high wave candle, you know, so you could have entered bullish here, stop loss down here, and, you know, rode a little bit of it up, retest, new high, able to take some profits up here, and then just trade right back down to that support line numerous times and just kept cranking. Relatively slow most of the day on the SPY, but we did end strong in the last few minutes of the day. So that's kind of cool, and we'll talk a little bit more about some of that. But SPY doing its thing. Here's the, again, zoomed in version of the daily chart. Just a great gap. So until the trend reverses, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, yesterday I was like, well, you know, I was like, we're just going to keep going up. And seems to be the case, at least for now. I mean, yes, there will be, at some point, we have to go down a little bit. But, yeah, here's the Qs. And the Qs, also nice gap. White candle, gapping up. Here's the 5-minute chart on the Qs, and we retested most of the morning. It's kind of slowly bounced around, but I mean, realistically, as far as day trades is concerned, you probably just played, you know, something on the Qs rather than the Qs itself, most likely. Dow Jones ETF held up strong all day. Here's the 5-minute chart on the Dow, and it just went bananas. So the Dow was the strongest of all the indices today. I think, was it stronger than the IWM? No, not quite. Look at the IWM candle. Oh, boy. So you get this very nice bearish 5-minute candle on the IWM. Entry there, stop there, break, retest. Just crush city on the IWM. Up 1.59%. My boy Mark locking in again. Let me hop over here to Mark's trade. Let me forget exactly where you posted this. Was it earlier today? Yeah, I don't remember exactly where Mark posted. Anyway, he was just talking about he hit his target on IWM, locked in some good R's. So great job, Mark. Very well done, sir. Super proud of you, bud. And Mark says, could have gotten more. Man, that's always the case, right? We can always get more. It's a guarantee that we will 99.999% of the time never get out at the top or the bottom. So good trade. And again, look at this weekly chart. This is amazing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 white candles in a row. I mean, at this point, again, I mean, the trend's strong, so it sounds wild, but buy the dip. Anyway, a lot of things to look at. Let me pull this up. Where'd my little note thing go? That's weird. Just kind of disappeared. Okay. So I'm going to open up the Keynote file and make sure Netflix is on this list. All right. Square's on the list. Beautiful. Let's dive in. CSCO. Today was option expiration Friday for February, regular February. And as usual, we had a lot of traders. Today was payday for them. CSCO, my buddy Brian Montgomery having a 43.50 put sale expiring worthless on Cisco. And I believe that was the only trader in Cisco systems. Here's the monthly chart. And the monthly chart just cruising. So again, we have plenty of room to go on this. If I just hide everything and just look at just kind of the candles, you can see, I mean, even since the big drop in 2000, it took a long time to accumulate, but slowly cranked higher on Cisco. And now we're just slowly climbing. But yeah, overall, looks great. Okay, Twilio. Big one for the day, TWLO. And this is the daily chart. So the daily chart on Twilio, the low of today was 104.25. So I'd be interested to know, let me see if Spice is here. I'd be really interested to know if he bought back his covered call at any point today. I don't see him in the chat, so let me hop over here and just ask him. Spice. No, he's not under Spice in this. Well, Spice, you can get at me. Let me know if you watch this recording. Let me know what you ended up doing on Twilio. Here was the 15-minute chart and 15-minute chart. I mean, just today, again, we just realistically just trade sideways most of the day. And yeah, we closed at 106.81. So I believe Spice had a 105 covered call expiring today. So if he just left it alone, obviously he's going to get called away. But two really cute candles on TWLO. So kind of a cute candles like that, which realistically, I mean, we could break down or break higher. The trend is bullish. So a bullish pop would make the most sense. That doesn't mean it will happen, but it certainly could. And that's what I got on Twilio. That's really it. I know my girl Tara is in this trade as well. So the weekly chart. You do have a bearish engulfing on a weekly chart. And again, this was the close of the week. Decent volume, but again, that was from earnings. And yeah, if anything, Spice, if you are watching the recording, you could at least sell some covered call, some put sales down here on the $195 price since earnings are over, and probably get paid some decent premium. And if the stock gets down there, you get put shares lower than you sold, and that is always a good thing. Cool. Next on the list, let's go look at El Pollo Loco. And a few people picking up El Pollo Loco. I forget who was asking about it earlier today. There's Andrew. Okay. So Andrew says, I'm thinking of a limit buy 1450 by 1350. Inside candle might not drop that low. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it, I mean, obviously it could. Anything is possible. The 100 simple is about 1488. So this limit buy that we were looking at, this is the one that we've been keeping an eye on for El Pollo Loco to just buy it off of the 100 simple on the daily chart. So the 100 simple on the daily chart, we trade down into that support level. And this is the stock that a lot of people are looking at just purely based on this really nice accumulation pattern breakout. Here's this new low down here. So some bears are getting trapped and some bulls are getting stopped out. And obviously it broke out of this channel, retested twice. Does that mean it has to go higher? I mean, of course not, right? But here's the exponential moving averages on a monthly chart, and we're working on getting above all of them. Here's the weekly, and we just pulled back into the weekly moving averages, high wave candle. And the daily, we're below all the short terms, but again, we just trade down to the 100. So this is a Morningstar reversal on El Pollo Loco. right there. My boy Brad has a $14 put sale for March, and that's pretty much it on the crazy chicken. If you're not in, you probably could look to get in on a dip. And again, your stop loss really could be a few different places. I mean, it could be at 14 or it could be right below the low of this candle. Just depends on your time frame and kind of how you want to play. El Pollo Loco. All right, gorgeous. So Mark and Andrew talking about that. Gorgeous. All right. Also, we want to talk about, let me add PDD UXIN. My boy Matty wants to look at AAOI. So we'll say absolutely. Make sure Pivotal's on here because there's a lot of things to talk about today. I'll do my best to get through them. Falco says bought to close the put sale, 66% premium capture. Great job. And Graham says closed out a day trade on Cron for 1.18 hours. Well done, buddy. Gorgeous stuff. Bob says close out of swing trades on ICLK, GILD, TER, and PDD for 3.8 hours. Total February 16.25. Amazing. That is incredible. Well done. Oops, let me edit this. Edit incredible. My hands are still a little frozen. I can't type perfectly well. My boy Adrian wants to look at C, so I'll put C on the list. I'm really just catching up on some of these messages. Done. All right. And Clive has bought ACIW. Might as well throw that one on the list. Why not? Nicole says a closeout Google bull put spread capped 43% of the premium. Doesn't look like it closed near low of day. Slice of the 200 long upper wick on weekly. Nice. I'll say, well, nice gain. So we'll look at Google today. So some people are talking the Googs. And Brad says, have my STX shares called away for a 5R gain. Oh my goodness. Wow. So let's look at Seagate for Brad. Amazing. And here's my boy Mark getting in some of the action. Says practice 3 11-hour trades last week on paper, BK&G, Amazon, Google for 30% return, and took 2 live this week, Amazon and Google for 24% net ROI. Glad you challenged us with cred spreads. Amazon was a bear call spread. Google bull put spread. Both expired for fractional R gains. Amazing. Yes, I'm just so fired up, everyone. You're doing so wonderful. Doing so wonderful. Joseph, yes, sir. Yum China, right there on the list. We'll be looking at it momentarily. So again, let's just keep diving in. I guess I was just kind of getting caught up, but that's lovely stuff, folks. Just so happy, pleased, excited, just elated. Activision, ATVI. So Activision, this is the part where I think we're going to work on the retest, something like this on ATVI. I'm not saying it will happen. Obviously, never know anything is going to be for sure. But I love the volume. I love the gap. It looks pretty. You know, here's the hourly chart and hourly time frame. Looks like that really could happen. Here's your exponential moving averages on an hourly. We're just kind of trading sideways for a bit. Plus, I mean, this is a classic retest gap on Activision. I did mention that before, after we knew that earnings was gapping up, I was like, I think this is the bottom on Activision. And I still think that. It makes sense that it's going to be the bottom. Doesn't have to be, obviously, but I mean, if you're looking at it on a monthly chart, granted, the month is not over. I realize that, but you have a nice long lower shadow. The 100, 200 is not super far away, but inching in. But it's a nice lower shadow. I mean, again, if you're looking at the weekly has a beautiful, so nice high wave candle with great volume. So realistically, it should be the bottom on Activision. And if it does trade back down into here, into these supports, it'll be a buyable zone. Most likely, like if it trades and kind of does one of those, the H pattern, which is just a bigger version of what I drew, something like this. So if it does that, then, that can be buyable. I just don't think it closes below there. So what I will say on Activision, and this could be one that we look at next week for some credit spreads as well. Shouldn't break this low. Let me rephrase. Shouldn't close below this support for a while. Yeah, my hands are frozen. All right, 215.19. Okay, so if it does close below there, I mean, sure, it could definitely go bearish, but we'll look at it on Tuesday. Just a reminder, U.S. markets are closed on Monday. I won't be here. You shouldn't be here either. Totally closed. All right, let's go look at Netflix. And this is a big one and an important one to talk about. First, I want to give a shout out to Robert Falco, who unraveled the spread. So this was remember we had a 385, 390 bear call spread on Netflix. And Robert bought to close the 385 call yesterday. And I don't know the exact numbers for his, but let's just say he did it for 5, I don't know, 10 or something. Today, the 390 call could have been sold for approximately 6 and some change. So small gain, wouldn't have been anything monstrous, but didn't lose, right, as far as an unravel is concerned. Now, this is a relatively decent false breakout type of candle pattern. So there was a resistance here, and this could cause Netflix to roll over. That's certainly plausible. But with the bullishness of the market, I'm just kind of fingers crossed that it does this. Now, based on today, this was the note from just the other day, right? Talked about on the 14th, which was yesterday, being in 380 and 390 long calls. I'll turn these into a debit spread, hopefully in 3 to 4 days, by selling a higher, a 405 or higher expiring in March. So I did a 400. So now I will update that. Let me delete all these drawings. So we've been following these Netflix spreads for a little while. And this is a 215.19 in 380, 390, 380, 390. The long calls, the long 3-3 calls for March now have 400, have the 400 calls sold against them. And at this point, with that premium that was brought in today, for the 400 calls, that was about $3 and some change. I think like $3.10, something like that. Realistically, the worst that's going to happen if Netflix does this, I'll lose an R on the unravel, which is totally fine, not an issue at all. So if Netflix does tank, I will lose on the unravel, but I will only lose an R, which is I'm absolutely fine with, because the upside is insane. So if Netflix does hang out, trade sideways, and really start popping, and these 380 or 390s go in the money, oh man, this could be like a 20-hour trade by itself. I mean, that could get exciting real fast. So we'll see. Plus, we still got this 295, 290 bull put spread for March. So if it does continue to go higher, then that's also going to be a winning position as well. And that's really it on Netflix. So if you did unravel yesterday and you sold the 395 long calls today, you know, when Netflix was breaking out, it was up like 1.5%. You know, when Netflix was like at 363 and some change, 364, you definitely would have made money on that trade. Otherwise, the trend, I'm just going to let it most likely, here's what I'm going to draw, was hopefully worst case scenario that it trades down to the 10, to the 20. If that happens, I actually might buy to close these $400 short calls. If we do dip, I might buy to close those 400 calls just in case we do bounce, and then I can sell some other ones, right? Okay, beautiful. So that's really it. On Netflix, here's the weekly candle, and I get it, right? The whole market is really up there. Totally understand. This could absolutely have a nice little dip, and like I said, if it does, I'll lose an R on that unravel, but that won't happen until March, so I'm okay. Falco says, would you consider selling another bull put spread higher up? Not yet. It's a great question, but not until we actually have a nice, gnarly little dip session. Some type of selling on Netflix, just a little bit of selling in the market. Like we trade down to the 50 EMA, 320, something like that. Maybe I'll get into another one, but right now I'm just gonna leave it alone. Very good question. All right, PDD. So PDD, that was weird. So barely got triggered into this one. And when I was looking at it yesterday, I thought about maybe having it 27.90. Again, doesn't mean this trade will work or not, but it does look a little different than the broader markets. So PDD is 28.05, did fill. And I did exit all of our swing trades today. So I talked about that in the in Slack, just for, I don't know what the term is, but let me scroll up. All right, it's right here. So 9:04 a.m. Sent the email out to everybody, the text message. Hey guys, quick update. This event happens about once every 2 to 3 months. I was green on all of the swings. So all the official ones, which was SKY, I mean, that was pretty much break even. But like I mentioned yesterday, it did go up. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take it. ICOK, TED, GILD from the weekly options newsletter, and then Blue Apron. All of those were profitable. And so just across the board, exit all of them. It was a really good day. Almost 3 Rs on those swings, and I got 1.6 Rs on Square, which I'll talk about later. So yeah, 17.18 Rs for February. I know my boy Bob is breathing down my neck, but that's okay. I hope you beat me. I'm always excited to be beat by other traders. That is a dream of mine, to just be in last place every single month and just have all of you just totally crush it. Couldn't be happier if that happens. So anyway, 28.05 PDD, we're in. Bob sold to us because he got out of his bullish position today. So hopefully I'm not getting in too high. And, you know, if I am, that's fine. But here's the weekly chart, and the weekly chart looks good. You did have this bearish candle last week. So this is a little bit of an aggressive trade, but, you know, the daily chart, I like the volume increase. I kind of like the gap candle. I do like this chart on the hourly too. Hourly doesn't look too terrible. So we'll see. All right, so anyway, PDD, that happened. And next on the list is UXIN, and UXIN happened as well. So UXIN, remember, we went real conservative with this one. It's just because earnings is around the corner. Super conservative. We did talk about yesterday, however, you know, keep your eyes out on UXIN, maybe even for a day trade. So if you did day trade this one, which I did not, I only day trade Square today. But if you did day trade UXIN, then, you know, nice, really nice, honestly. Some like good 20 cents to be found in there. So you got to like that volume. You got to like the breakout. I know this is a super conservative stop, but it is over earnings, and that's the reason I went really far away. But again, I just don't see the stock going down 73% over earnings. So we're getting in low on this one, on UXIN. Let's see if it works, but that did fill. 389. And then let me go look at Arlo, ARLO. Arlo. And Arlo, this is the daily chart. I mean, a kind of a nice candle, actually. So the high of today's candle was 385. 385, our entry was 387. Hasn't occurred yet. Here's the hourly chart. You know, so let me auto scale this. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. We will see. Bottom fishing, hands down. No question about that. Trying to pick the bottom on ARLO, Arlo Technologies. But right now, that's it. So PDD, and then the new one on UXIN. Maybe Arlo triggers, maybe not. I'm not sure. But and if both of those get stopped out, that's okay. Long as you lose less than you win. All right, so I had a request for Applied Optoelectronics, AAOI, and ooh, this looks toasty. So let me go look at this weekly chart just to see where we're at. The only reason I'm looking at the weekly realistically, we are downtown. Man, remember when Applied Optoelectronics was like the stock to buy? I mean, I'm pretty sure I read numerous articles like Applied Optoelectronics, greatest thing of all time, buy right there. Every time I pull up that chart, I'm just thinking, I don't know, man. This thing looks real high. Anyway, so you got the head and shoulders pattern on Applied Optoelectronics. Boom, boom. And there's another one. Nice little neckline. And just crash the whole time from there. Now, again, if you're playing it, it's pretty low, most likely counter trend. However, this thing can move. And you do have a one white soldier candle today. If I was playing Applied Optoelectronics, here's how I would do it. And I actually will put that on the list for Tuesday just to come back and see what it ended up doing. If we get an inside candle, I'll take that trade. Something like this, 1509 by 1409. I like that. That looks pretty. So I'm gonna put that on the list for Tuesday and just see what happens between now and Tuesday. All right, pivotal. So you saw the note that Falco posted about this put sale, you know, for March. So he's already bought to close those put sales. Hope you sold 100 of those. Anyway, so pivotal has been popping. This is the one that we looked at very frequently in the hedging with options class, like class 4 and 5, when we're talking about what stocks to buy and where and when and all that kind of good stuff. And we've also been looking at this one a lot in the afternoon room pretty much all week this week. Anyway, woo-wee, up 4.5%. That's what I'm talking about right there. Man, oh man, that's a good move. Look at that volume. Good close above 200% moving average. You got that candle came in. That's a good candle, man. You got that retest cap. Look at this pennant pattern right here. Boy, I say that is, whoa, S curve, pennant, breakout. Anyway, weekly chart, your exponential moving averages. I mean, you're above them all, obviously. 4 white candles in a row, and we'll see what this cookie does. I don't know. Looks nice. The good question is, yes, very valid question. Like, you know, when would we start implementing, you know, the covered calls, protective puts, all that good stuff? We don't necessarily need a protective put yet, but it most likely will retest since this is a retest gap. But again, now it's going to come down to your kind of plan about how, you know, where you want to sell, all that kind of good stuff. This one in particular, I'd probably just keep waiting on a little bit longer. And if you do a covered call, I mean, do it over, you know, over earnings, probably April or May 25 or higher on pivotal. But anyway, it looks good. Congrats for those who are in. Let's see what she does. Next on the list is Nvidia. Shout out to my boy Blakey A. Blake Anderson in the gang for taking a really good trade on Nvidia today. White candle gapping up. It was a retest gap, and it was a pretty large gap on Nvidia. And the first 5-minute candle was a food. Bob says, I'm up 2 hours on pivotal, but holding for a bit more. Yeah, seems reasonable. Here is the pre-market, and you can see obviously pre-market, beautiful downtrend line. Very nice. And the first 5 minutes, look at this thing. I mean, it just took out the low of that candle nicely. So again, this is the first 5-minute candle right here. So it closes below that pre-market support, closes below that pre-market support. I didn't take this trade, although I was very close to it. It broke down, retested, and just crashed. That would have been a great little fade right there. Very nice. If anybody wants any homework, feel free to practice fading Nvidia on multiple different time frames. And really, it's just all based on this candle and the close in the first 5 minutes, and the fact that it's, you know, a blue chip stock gapping up. It's a fade, right? Most blue chips like to fade the gap. So that gap up, sorry, I forgot to show how Blake played it. So on the 5-minute chart, he played it about as good as you could have. It came in, high wave candle right here, makes a new low, which means people definitely shorted it, hoping that this would occur, and they got potentially trapped. So he got in just right above the high of that candle with a stop down there and exit a few partials over here, and then got trailed out over here for a decent little gain, you know, cute little gain on Nvidia today. That was a nice trade. But anyway, that's what I got on NVDA. As far as swing trades, I think, did your covered call, Phil? So Falco was looking for a 175 March covered call. March. And that's kind of cute. Decent gap. Falco says March with a 150, 140 bear put spread. Makes sense. Okay. So kind of like a super collar in a way, pretty much, more or less. Super collar, yeah. 175, nice little move, good gap. It probably, and I will be keeping an eye on Nvidia to continue higher from here. Maybe throw in a little bit of something like this, but you know, this could be a good trap based on what it does and what the wick looks like. Throw something in there, but on Nvidia, yeah, I would expect it eventually to go a little bit higher based on this gap. Okay, beautiful stuff, team. Next is ARWR, Arrowhead, and really just looking at this one for the few traders who are in it. I don't have any positions on Arrowhead, ARWR. I mean, for those people who are in, keep holding. Looks nice. Good candle today, you know, good close above these wicks, nice moving averages, daily chart, weekly chart, hourly chart, all above the moving average. You got like this breakout multi-inverted head and shoulders pattern thing. So Arrowhead Pharmaceuticals, if you're in, stay in. MC. So this one, you might remember, was a swing trade that we canceled when we did not get filled on this day because I thought this is exactly what would have happened. It would go a little bit lower. I didn't set this trade up on MC, but if you did, you know, you actually got filled at open. And if you didn't and you want to try to get it in a little bit lower, you probably could do something like this, 45.04 by 43.04, just in case you're looking for something to trade. You're welcome to consider that. And here's the hourly chart. And the hourly chart, I mean, you got this little pre-market move down here. Could be a little bit of an S curve, a little bit of a pop. Here's the daily chart. Hunglao says, is that drop caused by the dividend? Yes, ma'am. Yep. Every now and then, I love a good dividend gap for day trading. Can be pretty fun. But that was caused by the dividends. We will keep an eye on MC. I don't know if we will trade it officially. Yeah, I think I'm going to wait on MC to trade officially. But I'll put on the list for Wednesday of next week, and we'll just keep tabs on it right now. Next on the list is MERC, Mercer International, and this thing has had earnings, and it did pop up a little bit today. Got a very nice high wave candle. Yeah, pretty nice, cute high wave. I don't think this breaks out anytime soon. Realistically, once it closes above here, I would still do a pullback. I'll kind of write that in. So end of day bullish. Where's that note? Bullish end of day close. All right, I'm gonna put this on the top. Put this on the top, and I want to say once if MERC closes above here, look to buy the retest. So realistically, just more or less saying, hey, if you want to play this one, totally cool. I know there's a trader who's already in it, but if you want to get in it after earnings, just wait for a close above there. And then once it does that, then you can hop in on a retest. All right, going to talk about how I played Square today. I think you'll like it. Another really lucky trade on ticker symbol SQ. By the way, anyone who did some $62 put sales on Square, if you did any, realistically any February put sale on Square, unless it was in the money, if you did any out of the money put sale, it should have expired worthless today. Yesterday, this was the note on Square. I'll be watching SQ for a gap up again tomorrow. It's exactly what we talked about yesterday. I loved it. This morning, here is the 5-minute chart, and I still have my drawings on here. I guess sometimes lucky is good. It's hard to show the exact candle because the candle that was, well, here's what I can do. Because when I posted it, that's why I took the trade. August says CGC beat earnings up 283%. Is it really? Wow. All right, let me go look at that next. How did I not see CGC all day? I don't know. Oh, it's already on the list. Okay, we'll look at that in just a second. All right, let me scroll up. $154. I feel like this is yesterday. Yep, sorry. Okay, my bad. I just lost my place. All right, so here is 7:31 a.m. this morning. That's 7:31 Mountain Time, 9:31 Eastern. And here's what it actually looked like. So this was the 1 minute, technically, this is a 3-minute chart, but this is before this 1 minute candle closed. So when this candle gapped, I just liked the opening candle so much. This actually, this was, again, 45 seconds into market open, something like that. And that candle was forming. I did not think it would do what it did. So 76.31 by 76.06 on Square, that was the exact entry. And this was the same setup. And realistically, what happened is that the candle just went bananas. It went wild. And that was it. So again, I just kind of randomly was like, I threw in a random target, purely random, no rhyme or reason at all why I exited there. This is one that if I did put 2 Rs, it actually would have hit a 2R target 4 minutes into the trade. So if you're like, well, Newsom, why did you get out at 2? Because it was a retest gap. And, again, with Square, that's happened pretty much all week long. Every single day this week had some type of quick move in the morning where you could have gotten like an R and some change, maybe not quite 2 Rs, and then it does something, reverses and something weird. So I just arbitrarily and almost magically placed the target, and that was that. That was the whole trade. And ironically enough, if you did follow that trade on Square that I posted in Slack, you actually would have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 opportunities to get in. And again, all the way up until, really 8:48. So the first 18 minutes of market, you could have played Square bullish and taken more than an R gain on it. So that was a nice move. And again, we were talking about that yesterday. There you go. That was my only day trade of the day. That was it. Albert says, heart attack. Yeah, she's a fun one. So this is the daily chart. I'll zoom in. Where did I go? So right now on the daily chart, again, if you have any put sales on this one, cool. Earnings is around the corner, but Square doesn't usually gap that heartily on earnings. It did break out of the long-term moving averages, and we'll see what happens. Falco says, what was that, $800 in 4 minutes? Not bad. No, not bad at all, man. Not bad at all. So here's what I would love for Square to do. Just love if Square went, like a quick drop or something, really freaked everyone out, just right to these moving averages, that would be a great dip buying opportunity. It just looks like a weird, kind of a strange trend. But type in a 3 if you want to know what stock I'll be looking at Tuesday morning for a gap up or down. That will be Square. Tuesday morning, gonna watch Square again and see if I can rinse and repeat the exact same process I've been doing the last few days on Square. A really great candle, perfectly poised for another gap. If Square gaps to 77.37, oh my gosh. Oh boy. That'll be like taking candy from a broken vending machine in Walmart. Or if it gaps down, 73.40, that would be really fun too. Anyway, and again, if you did have some put sales for February, regular February, they all expired worthless, and the ones for March, we'll see. That's still kind of far away. All right, nice. Wynn Resorts, WYNN. And Wynn, ooh, the high of today was 125 exactly. And we drew this yesterday at 125.04. I did ask for an inside candle. Oh, man. You ever pull up a trade and just immediately feel like you're going to lose on it? That's what I'm experiencing right now on this trade. I just feel like I'm going to lose. But I did kind of draw it, didn't I? Well, here's the weekly chart. So you do have something a little different than the market. I just looked at the hourly. Let me turn the extended hours off. Here's what I'm thinking. I think I can get crafty on this because this is an expensive stock. I think we do this. So what I'm going to do is give it one more day. And if it breaks out and starts kind of creeping back, I'll just do a limit buy like down here and just try to get it a little bit cheaper and then lower the stop a little bit, just give us a little bit of wiggle room. But I am going to be looking for a win. And I do think we could also look at this one for credit spreads. So I mentioned earlier, Tuesday, Activision, Wynn. And let me just put in here, I'll make a note. Wynn and ATVI put sales or credit spreads. Just in case I don't take them directionally, I could take them non-directionally. All right, just one more day. A little bit of a pop, a little bit of retest. Again, just because I feel like getting into a lot of things bullish right now, with the market the way it is, obviously there has to be some sort of pullback at one day. Don't want to get into too many things bullish while that's happening. All right, next on the list is 310 to Yuma, YUMC. And Yum, China. Yep, gonna have to go bearish on this one. Pretty much the only reason I'm going bearish on this, because normally, well, there's three. Normally, with a 10 being right there, I wouldn't go bearish. But we have this really nice retest gap down here. So that retest gap, it would make sense to fill. Number two, you got this gorgeous little high wave candle that did gap down. And number three, this 41.88 is a pretty strong resistance. This is what the weekly chart looks like. So decently strong resistance on Yum China. And we got an inside day candle today on an hourly chart. So bearish stop at 40.36 with a limit at 40.47 would pretty much just means that we want to do that. With a stop loss at 41.47 would be $1 risk. And that would be a decent amount of shares on Yum China. Wouldn't be that expensive, but let's do it. More or less just to have a bearish trade out there, even if it doesn't work, which is totally fine. I mean, someone once told me that sometimes trades don't work. I think having a bearish trade out there in case the market does tank is probably not the worst thing in the world. I'll call it a high risk, high reward trade based on a retest gap, open because it's not triggered yet. And we talked about it yesterday. I said, hey, if it does this, then I'll set it up, and it did it. So there's the setup. All right, so we come back over here. New official swing trade. Jesse says, exit the weekly options newsletter for a gain. Yes. That was a good one. Okay. So, Yum China, done. Next on the list, here's Lowe's. Yep. So, Lowe's, that shaved bottom candle, just knew it was going to retest. And again, having a bearish order opens, not too scary. Dividends is around the corner, I believe, on Lowe's. Let me just go check it out. My new favorite website, dividend.com. Would you like to know when your stock's going to have a dividend? Go to dividend.com. All right, ticker symbol L. Lowe's. Okay. Upcoming February 26th. So we've got about 10 calendar days. We could just go puts on it. So we have the 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, 25th, and then 26th. Joanne says, great website. I am saving it. It is. A little nifty takeaway. Yeah, I mean, this is not bad. So 46.27. Wow, by 47.27. Another $1 stop on a $40 stock. Interesting. I do kind of like it. I don't think it actually triggers. But if it does, let's go Charlie Brown. All right. 46.27 by 47. No, let me take these off or do this because it's been weird recently with those drawings. Okay. So having two bearish trades out there, which is, again, not saying that the market's in a tank by any stretch of the imagination, but at some point there'll be a little bit of a pullback, I would assume. And if it does, maybe we can catch something bearish. All right, 46.27 by 47.27. And again, you can do that with options as well if you wanted to. Based on, what type of gap was this on a daily chart? Retest gap, okay. So retest gap, open because it's not triggered yet. And we'll throw that in here, pop it over here, new official swing trade. All righty. Sounds good. Next on the list, we got ourselves JP Morgan. And JP Morgan, we talked about this one also yesterday in the afternoon swing trading room. And we were discussing how, when Falco pulled up the 13 Fs of Berkshire Hathaway, and we were chatting about that they added, a pretty decent holding on JP Morgan and that it might gap up and that you'd probably want to put JP Morgan on your list this morning, right? So this is the list that I mentioned yesterday. I said Friday morning, Square and JP Morgan. So here is JP Morgan on a 5-minute chart, and it just blew by me. Never got a chance to take it. It just ran. Could I have played it on a 1-minute chart? Yes, I could have. Here's the 1 minute. I knew it would be a bullish gap. I didn't think it'd be that bullish. I didn't think it'd be 1 minute chart bullish. Oof. So that would have been a great options trade on JP Morgan. So I hope someone took it since we talked about it yesterday at length about the gap. And I mean, look at that phenomenal gap. Oh, looking back at it now, it's kind of obvious. The reason I did not take it on the 1 minute chart is because of this lower shadow. I'll be honest, I was a little chicken. I just thought, you know what, it'll take 5 minutes and then run higher. And after the 5 minutes it was up, I had just missed it. And I was already in Square as well. So it was one of those, whatever. I'm just full of excuses. Let's just jot down all of the excuses for why I didn't trade this one. Trade right to the 100 simple today. Beautiful gap. Hope someone played it. Very well done. Here's the weekly. And the weekly got a good close above last week's bearish candles high. Falco's, as Bank of America did the same. And Bank of America was also on that list from yesterday, talking about, you know, adding to it. And yep, you're absolutely correct. They also gapped up and opened right at the 200. And yeah, 5-minute chart got this hammer running, retesting, continuing. Nice moves on financials today. Well done. Look at this morning star. Oh, I missed that one bad. Okay. Bank of America, cool little move. Nice. Well done again for anyone who played that one. So I had some people request the good old, the Bitcoin. And the Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen, not the Bitcoin, but it is boring city right now. So we were just hanging. The 200 simple moving average is the only thing acting as a support. I can say these two candles are almost tweezer bottoms, which is a big deal for Bitcoin. So if we actually do, this candle, you know, will close this weekend. If we do close like this and it does get a pop, we could get some traction. I still think if anyone is interested in it, this actually is not a horrific spot to start accumulating. Obviously, you can see it looks very, very similar to the tech bubble in 2000, which means most likely we'll get something like this for a while before we get any type of movement higher. But someone once told me that you can trade movements like that and make some money. So just throwing that out there. All right, that's Bitcoin. Next on the list, Coke. Ticker symbol KO. And here's the daily chart. We did watch this one most of the day yesterday for a bullish trade. And Coke is going lower right now. So this was the bullish entry that we were looking at later, you know, earlier? Yesterday, sometime yesterday. When it posted this like bullish inverted head, you know, that kind of candle right there. Was looking at getting in bullish, and then it broke the stop and then came back up and hung out, and again just never really went higher. And the daily chart, I mean, what's happening on Coke right now is it is a gap and go, and it was down super strong on earnings. The other cool part is it's taking out the low of this candle right here and this candle. So this could be just a really nice bearish trap. I don't think Coke is going to zero. And, you know, it does look like a double top on the weekly. So you're going to have tons of people who are going to short Coke, I think. Just technicians looking at this saying, hey, it's a gap down, and they're just going to short it. So we'll see if we can catch Coke on a rally. Something like this. I think that gap will, well, let me rephrase. I know this gap will eventually fill. Pretty confident. I don't think this is going to be a breakaway gap on Coke where it goes from $45 to $17. I mean, always possible. Anything's possible. Berkshire still has 400 million shares of Coke. And if it does pull down to 40.72, which it certainly could, that would be a tremendous buying opportunity and spot on Coke. Okay, next on the list is AMD. And AMD, this pesky little devil. So AMD, we had the weekly options newsletter getting stopped out by pennies. Pennies on these days. And it's just, when that happens with options, it just kind of makes me go, yeah. Anyway, so barely got stopped out. It did go a little bit higher today. Earnings are over, and we might try this one again. This was the drawing that we did yesterday, and I kind of mentioned, hey, look for a flash lower and then a bounce. Well, shoot. Yesterday was definitely a flash lower. Look at that super small candle. Look at this retest, by the way, on AMD. I hope someone out there in the real life rooms played this one. Look at this retest. So it gapped up, traded down, and then hammer time. Nice shave top. Boom, boom. I mean, look at that. So you got to get in bullish around here somewhere if you're playing AMD. And if not there, then there. So anyway, right now, AMD, that was a nice little move. I will put it on the list for a potential weekly options newsletter again. I'm not going to give up that easy on it. I'm going to come back to AMD, and we'll look at it on Tuesday, obviously, AMD, and we'll just see how we play it. I mean, more or less, I'll just try it again based on this high wave candle. Fool me once, that's okay. Fool me twice, time for a milkshake. I think that's how the quote goes. Casey is in a put sale on AMD, so he doesn't care if it goes higher or sideways or goes down, and he gets put some shares eventually. But anyway, just give AMD a day or two, but that one could be really nice. All right, Micron. So as bullish as Nvidia was, Micron was an inside day candle today. This protective put that I sold, actually, I'm not counting this one against my R's or anything, or at least not yet, until all these trades are fully finished. Selling to open this particular put for February, that was a put sale against this particular one. So this trade was a diagonal collar because I sold a put against the long put with a different expiration than the put itself. So kind of like a super diagonal collar on MU. Anyway, so that one expired worthless, and I'll see if I can find another one to sell, maybe for April. I probably will have to sell like a 32 or something, but presently that looks, Micron looks pretty good. Michael says, when we're talking about a swing trade in here, do you ever execute it in after hours, or do you make sure it's not enforced until regular hours? It's a great question, Michael. So obviously, as traders, you can totally feel free to do whatever you personally choose for when you execute. But for me personally, I only execute during regular market hours. Great question. Now, if we're going to trade and we're in some shares and it's gapping up or something, and we know that, we can get out. It's a very rare instance, but I'll do that. That's fine. I'll exit shares after hours if given the chance on a nice gap or something, but it's relatively rare. Yep. So anyway, very good question. Micron is just hanging out. Now, 46 is a covered call I have for April, which yes is an eternity away. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, man, Micron looks like it might be in the green because dollar cost average for a lot of traders is around the low 40s. Closing above the 100 simple on a weekly is a big deal. I'd like to see Micron continue higher. All right, just a few more left. Here's Cron, CRON. And there's a trader that I just mentioned that said he had a good trade on Cron. I think that was Graham. And look at this retest gap. Traded down, beautiful high wave candle that filled the gap. Entry, stop, all day, all day, all day. Bunch of white candles, taking some profit up here after an R and some change. So Graham, good trade on Cron, which, by the way, I don't know if anyone knew this, but I learned something new the other day. I think Cron, even though the name is Chronos, there's also a term for weed called chronic, which I did not know, promise. But that'll be a fun ticker, right? Cron for chronic. I think that's just an interesting little tidbit for anyone out there. I don't know. Trend right now, hanging out. Strong trend. Exponential moving averages pulling back to the 10. You're getting some bounces on Chronos group. Feel free to keep your eyes on this one because obviously the trend is bullish. So play it in the direction of the trend. The Googsters. So we just looked at and saw that Michelle exited the bull put spread, the March bull put spread, 1050, 1040 for a profit. collecting 40% of her potential gain. So congrats on that one, Nicole. Here's the weekly chart. Weekly is an inside candle. And next week, this 100 simple moving average should be a little bit higher on the Gooksters. It did have a little bit of a bearish engulfing candle today with a perfect shaved top candle. Bearish shaved top, perfection. So that's a little bearish on Google. And I'll certainly keep an eye on that one, more or less hoping if Google can close above the high of today's candle, then that one really realistically should continue higher. Because right now that is a little bit of a bearish signal on Google. We already looked at Netflix. Let's go look at CGC. And CGC today, small little gap up. So small little gap up today was a bullish gap and go. You know, here's the 5-minute chart, and the first 5-minute candle was a very, very wicky high wave candle. But I mean, if you're looking at Canopy, and you're probably wondering, you know, why did that thing just not tear off with a really good gap? Mostly because it's already had a really strong move. I mean, it went from 25 all the way up to 50. Small retracement, decent gap, but it's really not awful. So we're going to put Canopy Growth on the list for sure next on Tuesday, because if we break above the highs of, you know, this candle, I can play that bullish. I mean, I ain't scared. Something like that. So we're going to put that on the list for Tuesday. Diane has some put sales at 35. I believe that's for June, if I'm not mistaken. It's a little bit on the longer term side. Okay, so let me pop over here and add this to the list. CGC on Tuesday because the market's closed on Monday. Next on the list, we have APHA. And APHA, very similar to CGC as far as the candle. Super small gap up. I mean, you probably could play either or both. I mean, I don't know, but that's a beautiful candle. Super small move. High wave bearish candle right on top of the long-term moving averages. A break above there, a stop right below there. Ladies and gentlemen, go have fun with some of those weed stocks next week, because I think a break in any direction could be fun, but bullish would be a really good time. Here's NIO. And NIO, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what she's going to do, but I'm semi-confident at this point. I think she's going to come down to make a new low. So NIO, if it trades down to 534, makes a new low. That's what I'm looking to do.
What's happening, bro?
So if it does something like this and trades down to here, I'll be looking at buying the dip on NIO. All right, so next on the list, let's go. We have 4 more stocks left. So here's Citigroup. Citigroup. So again, very similar to JP Morgan and Bank of America. You know, with the Buffett, the Warren, Mr. Money, adding a lot more positions to JP Morgan and Bank of America. They just saw that as a bullish sign, and that thing gapped and ran. Really nice little move, great gap, kind of a cute little interesting double bottom. So Citigroup will do pretty much what everything else is going to do. You know, so if they retest and bounce, that's why the Dow was doing so strong today. A lot of the banks had a good pop. But again, good candle pattern, looks bullish to me. I mean, so if we keep climbing on the financials, if we do get that small retest on Tuesday, Wednesday, and then continue a little bit higher, it would just look like the market would continue up, at least for now. ACIW. ACIW, what is this beast doing? Look at this weekly chart. I don't even know what this stock is, but it is on a tear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 white candles in a row in a weekly, all-time high. Probably not the best spot to buy it. I do love that little candle pattern, though. I mean, that's a nice flag. So if you're already in, I mean, fingers crossed for a run higher. If you're not in, you could consider buying the dip. but your stop would be really tight. And if it doesn't work, I mean, I would only really suggest doing that trade if you have a lot of R's to spare for the month. But if you need a gain, you need a win, probably wouldn't pick that one. It just looks like it's a little too extended right now. But if you are already in, it just looks like a good hold to me. So we already looked at Google, and let's go look at Seagate for my boy Brad to celebrate with him getting called away on his shares. STX closing at 45.71. So he got put some shares down here. Really good dividend yield on Seagate as well. And yeah, I mean, just a nice yield, good buy low, sell high spot, nice little candle. What's cool on Seagate is this pattern right here. Really good resistance, but nice resistance there and relatively cute higher low. This could be the making of a fun breakout on Seagate. Long-term moving averages, we're right in the middle of them. The weekly, we're right on top of them. Seagate, folks, ready to spring forth. So let's put this on the list for Tuesday, and that's the ball game. Boys and girls, thanks for tuning in. It's been a really fun week. Today was a super profitable day for a lot of real-life traders. A lot of people breaking into the double R digits. The goal for the month was 20 and getting pretty close. So great weekend, everyone. I'm going to see you on Tuesday. Let me go ahead and add the stocks that we'll look at on Tuesday together. All right, just bring this over here. Make sure I copied that. All right, so Zendesk, Baidu, Car, Spotify, EA, GLT, Activision, AAOI, Wynn, AMD, CGC, STX. Obviously, we can look at Netflix, Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon. A lot of traders also had some spreads on Amazon today that expired worthless. I mean, just beautiful week credit spreads expiring this week. Well done for a condor, by the way. So we're talking about that one yesterday as well. I was like, hey, do some condors down here, bear call spreads up here. Had like an inside day candle on Amazon. What a wonderful day for a condor. So great job, team. Just all around, really solid performance. Proud of you all. Keep it up. Keep me posted if you have any questions. Let's go enrich lives together. Have yourself a great weekend. I'll see you later. I'm out. Bye-bye.